So let's talk about Benjamin Franklin. I mean, the name itself is basically a cornerstone of American history, right? He was a writer, a scientist, an inventor, a statesman. Honestly, the list just goes on and on. But how on earth did one person do so much? How did he leave such an incredible mark on the world? Well, let's dive in and unpack the story of a true original. And this, right here, is the central puzzle of Benjamin Franklin's life. This isn't someone who was born into a world of wealth or privilege. Nope. He was the son of a candlemaker, and he had almost no formal schooling. And yet, his mind would literally go on to illuminate the entire world. So the big question is, how did he do it? So, where does this incredible story even begin? Well, it's not with that famous flash of lightning you're probably thinking of. No, it starts much quieter, with the simple turning of a page. Franklin's journey was fueled by this unstoppable thirst for knowledge and a really brave decision to just forge his own path. Okay, so picture this. He's born the 15th of 17 kids. His path seemed pretty much laid out for him. His formal schooling, it ended when he was just 8 years old so he could go to work for his dad. By 12, he was an apprentice in his older brother's printing shop, which, yeah, was a tough job, but it put him right in the middle of books and ideas. But Franklin wanted more. He didn't just want to print other people's words. He wanted his own life, his own freedom. Think about that. At just 17 years old, an age when most of us are still figuring things out, Franklin makes this massive, life-changing decision. He runs away. And this was a huge deal, totally illegal back then. He shows up in Philadelphia with pretty much nothing. There's this famous story of him walking down the street, hungry, with 3 big rolls of bread, 1 in his mouth and 2 tucked under his arms. He was all alone, but he was absolutely determined. And this is where we see his secret weapon, the thing that made all the difference. Since he had no school, he just made the world his classroom. He read every single book he could get his hands on, often staying up late into the night just reading by candlelight. This relentless, nonstop self-education, it became the bedrock of everything he would ever accomplish. So, all of this nonstop learning, it started to transform him. He went from being this self-taught printer to a world-renowned scientist. And see, Franklin wasn't just into abstract ideas. He was fascinated by how the world actually worked. And he was not afraid to ask some pretty dangerous questions. You have to remember, back in the 1700s, lightning was terrifying. People thought it was, I don't know, an act of God, something totally supernatural and mysterious. But Franklin, he had this wild theory, a really radical idea for the time. He suspected it was just a massive, natural form of electricity, the very same stuff scientists were just beginning to play with in their labs. So to prove this crazy idea, he sets up this legendary, and let's be honest, insanely dangerous experiment. He flies a kite into a thunderstorm, letting the electrical charge from the clouds travel down the wet kite string to a metal key he had tied to it. And when he brought his knuckle close to the key, zap. He felt the spark. In that single moment, he proved that lightning was just electricity, completely changing our understanding of the natural world forever. But here's the thing about Franklin. He didn't just stop with a discovery. That wasn't enough. He immediately thought, okay, how can we use this? And he invented the lightning rod to protect homes and buildings from fires. This drive to make everyday life better led to this incredible list of inventions: bifocal glasses, a much more efficient stove, even America's very first public library and volunteer fire department. But you know what's most amazing? He never patented a single one of them. He believed his ideas should be shared freely to help everybody. It was like an 18th century version of open source, you know? Just here, take it, make the world better. And his impact wasn't just in science. Through his super popular Poor Richard's Almanac, he shared all this witty, practical advice that really shaped American culture. Phrases just like this one became household wisdom, weaving his values of hard work and being smart with your money right into the identity of the new nation. But believe it or not, his biggest project was still ahead of him. As he got older, Franklin's focus shifted from improving daily life to actually building a brand new nation. This is what earned him the title, the First American. Now, when things started getting tense with England, Franklin was the guy they sent to London as a diplomat. And at first, he wasn't looking for a fight. He didn't want a revolution. He just wanted fairness. He argued passionately for American rights within the British Empire. But the English government just wouldn't listen, and they kept pushing the colonies closer and closer to a breaking point. Okay, get this. At 70 years old, an age when most people are kicking back, their careers long behind them, Benjamin Franklin's most important chapter was just getting started. After helping to write and sign the Declaration of Independence, he set off on what would be his most critical mission ever. And you really can't overstate how huge his impact was. Just look at this mission to France. Before he got there, America was basically fighting alone and losing. The war effort was shaky at best. But then Franklin, now in his 70s, gets to France. He uses his fame as a scientist and his incredible charm, and he actually convinces the King of France to back the American cause. That alliance, and the ships, soldiers, and money that came with it, was the absolute turning point that made an American victory possible. So after all this, what can we really take away from such an incredible life? Well, Franklin's legacy isn't just about the amazing things he did, it's about the principles he lived by. You can almost boil his life down to this powerful formula, these 4 key lessons. First, always be a lifelong learner. His real education began the day he left school. Second, share what you know. His refusal to patent inventions was all about using ideas for the common good. Third, serve the greater good. He was constantly building things to improve his community. And finally, maybe most importantly, your start in life doesn't define your finish. He proved that character and hard work are what really matter. And even then, in his final years, he still wasn't finished. At 81 years old, frail but just packed with wisdom, he shows up as the oldest delegate to the Constitutional Convention. His experience and his calming voice were crucial in guiding all those younger, often arguing founders to create the framework for a new government, one that has lasted for centuries. You know, he was a printer, a scientist, an inventor, a founder of a nation. The list is just endless. But when you get right down to it, Benjamin Franklin was a problem solver, a guy who used his incredible curiosity and his relentless hard work to make the world around him a little bit better. Which kind of leaves us with one final question to think about. If he were here today, what problem in our world do you think he'd be trying to solve right now?